Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today is Saturday. I dropped my car off Monday. I just got it back yesterday on Friday. So I'm hoping this video will either go up later today, or tomorrow morning. But yeah, they got the steering wheel fixed. The clutch, they ended up having to replace the flywheel. So I had a lightweight aluminum flywheel on there. But I went back to the stock flywheel for a few reasons. The biggest one is it was cheaper. It can be resurfaced. The aluminum ones are not as easy to do that with. And the one that I had on had heat marks and some signs of wear. So that's kind of the reason why I had to replace that. And they fixed all the piping up front, so it's not hitting on anything anymore. They resealed all the fittings for the air oil separator. But yeah, so far, my first impressions of the clutch, I've only driven it like 7 miles. I have a counter on here. I gotta do 450 to 500 of city driving before I can really, try and hammer on this thing. But first impressions is it's a lot lighter. That pressure plate is a lot lighter, so it's not as aggressive as the ACT clutch. But I've also noticed that it's a lot harder to stall it. Part of the braking instructions, I'm not supposed to really ride the clutch for longer than 2 seconds, and I've been trying not to. But every time you do a clutch, especially with the flywheel, it's like driving a whole new car. So I've been getting used to that the past few days. You might also hear I'm kind of sick right now. Just got some sort of sinus infection. But I am headed to Cars and Coffee right now. And so I'll just take you guys along for the ride. Probably take some pictures and videos. Maybe do a voiceover later on for that, because it may be crowded, it may be not super crowded, so we'll see how it looks when we get there. But yeah, Cars and Coffee in Birmingham. It's located over by the Cracker Barrel off 280 and the Colonnade, across from Amped Fitness. So if you're ever in the area, want to come up on a Saturday, they do it every Saturday, 8:30 to I believe around 11:30. As you can see, I'm running a little late. I slept in today. I was up late last night doing homework. But yeah, as much as it's weird, and it doesn't have the lightweight flywheel, I'm loving this. The way this feels so much better. And apparently a lightweight flywheel will get you more horsepower. You rev up a lot quicker. You don't get rev hang, which I don't think I really had at all to begin with in this car. But with an OEM kind of flywheel, since it's heavier, it deals better with torque. As you know, this car is turboed, so torque is something I want more necessarily than just straight horsepower. So yeah, that's kind of the reasoning why my mechanic recommended that, and why I went ahead with it. So yeah, what I'm mainly focusing on in these next few weeks is kind of relearning how I drive. Like I was saying in the first vlog, kind of hate the way I drive manual. I know I'm not doing it the absolutely correct way. I'm kind of just like brute forcing it, forcing myself to drive it, and I've not necessarily been doing it the correct way. So I'll bring you guys along for that. I'll put up some videos about that, kind of teaching myself how to drive manual again, a bit more of the correct way. But my thoughts with the car, I have two options I kind of want to go with. Potentially turn it into a track and or drift car, or kind of just do a show car build. I'm kind of leaning more towards the show car build because, well, I guess my options in the order that I probably want to go with is show car, track car, and drift car. I probably could end up drifting this thing. It has the power and everything. I've done burnouts in it before. I don't know. To me, conceptually, it seems very difficult. I don't know how to drift or do donuts or anything like that. I've kind of just launched the car before. Done a few like baby burnouts, and it just seems like a very expensive hobby with how much you're burning through tires. So I'm not financially stable enough to get into drifting. For track, I know it's kind of the same deal with the tires and the brakes and everything. But my friend, he drives an E46 M3 that he's like fully stripped. He's got it ready for the track and everything. He tracks it up at Barber Motorsports, and I've been kind of wanting to go along with like a ride along with him, see how that feels like. So we may end up tracking it over just like a pure show car, or maybe a little bit of a combination of the both. But so in the first video / introductory video, I kind of was like hammering on the clutch kit and the brakes. On the brakes, I kind of already went over how I didn't even know you were supposed to bed them in, and that's kind of on me. And with the clutch, I did do a 500-mile braking period, but because it had that aggressive clutch, heavy pressure plate, and the lightweight flywheel, and I was unused to that, and I wasn't necessarily driving it properly anyways. That's why I ended up wearing out way too prematurely. The actual clutch and the pressure plate were fine. It was just the flywheel had heat marks on it. I know exactly how that happened. I always revved it up way too much and revved the clutch way too much. So that's kind of why I'm wanting to baby this clutch a little bit more, because I don't want to repeat of that. Sorry, I lost my train of thought merging in there. Another thing kind of about me that I thought about while making these videos, I don't have the most confidence in my ability to work on my car. Like I always go in there like raring to get in there, pull things apart, put new parts on and everything. But it gets to a point to where there's only so much I can do without a lift or without the proper education on it. I'll go and watch a YouTube video and be like, oh yeah, I can do that. So I ended up doing that with the clutch, and I replaced the clutch fork when I did that, but I didn't replace the hardware, the clips that hold the clutch, the throwout bearing to the fork. So that ended up being part of the reason why the throwout bearing went bad prematurely, is it was rubbing up against the clutch fork. I had to replace that with this new clutch kit because it was worn out as well. So that's what was leading to the noise that made me bring my car in the first place, is the throwout bearing had eaten into the clutch fork, and it damaged both of them pretty badly. So with things like this, from now on, I'm kind of just gonna bring it to the professionals, let them deal with it. When I deal with it, they love working on my car, from what I've heard. So we'll see what happens from here regarding that. I'll still try and do some like simple stuff on my own. Like I plan on replacing my bumper cover on my own. I've done that a few times with the BMW. I end on this car. I've taken it off and put it back on for the cold air intake and the VLAN headlights. You gotta do both of those. You gotta take the bumper cover off. So we'll try and do a few things on my car, and I'll try and get those uploaded. I'm not sure what all I'm planning to do in the near future. Maybe some interior mods. It's in a pretty good place where I like it so far. It could use some new paint or a wrap or just like a touch-up job. But I know those touch-up jobs can get expensive, or you might as well just replace or get it repainted anyways and be cheaper that way. But another option is go with the wrap. With that, all I gotta do is get that dent in the passenger side door fixed. I'm trying to think of what else I'm trying to do. I may try and clean up the engine bay a little bit more. That was me missing 5th gear. Yeah. There's not really a whole lot. Something I was going to say, but the camera died before I could get it in the first video. That OEM style BRZ wing, spoiler wing, whatever you want to call it. I really love the look of that, and I plan on getting one. I don't know if I'm going to paint match it yet, or just try and find like a carbon one. I'm not really the biggest fan of carbon. At least the look of it in the interior. Sometimes on the exterior it looks fine. You know, I went with this carbon shift knob. That's about the only thing I'll get in the inside of the car. Actually, it took me quite a while to find this steering wheel, or any kind of steering wheel for this car that's like OEM plus, that's not carbon. I just, I don't know. It's something about the way it looks. I just don't like it. You know, I love the way it looks. It's just in cars, I'm not the biggest fan of it. I just think it belongs somewhere else. There are a few things that have done it in like a good job, I would say. I know I've seen a few good examples. I just can't think of any right now to list off. But going back to vaping my clutch, kind of the process I'm doing, just really following their instructions. No riding it for more than 2 seconds, no burnouts, excessive driving, kind of anything. And on that term, I try and limit it to 3,000 RPM max. And that's kind of the general idea. You want to do 450 to 500 miles, and then something I'm supposed to do within the first 750 to 1,000 miles is I'm supposed to be, let's see, adjusting the clutch pedal. I'm not exactly sure how you do that. I know it's a little complicated. I've heard it before where you gotta like ride the clutch at a certain position or something. I don't know. As I was saying, I've never done that before. Not turning here. But I'm gonna have to do that in about 720 miles. So we'll see how that goes. That'll be a learning experience for the both of us. Another thing they try and say is don't downshift, and that kind of goes on the riding the clutch. I try my best to rough match, but you never get it perfectly, so that's why you don't want to downshift, but sometimes you kind of just got to. So what I'm gonna end up doing is, when I have to downshift, you can't like, there's certain times where you can't not downshift. I'm going to treat it where I'm not necessarily blipping the throttle, but I'm going to try and rev match exactly as much as I can, so it's more like just a little quick riding the clutch to get the revs matched. But I think I'm going to go with more of, you got to rev, it's got to rev match higher rather than lower. I think it's a better option, but I may be wrong. you have any input on that, leave it in the comments. But we just got here. I'm gonna go ahead and park, turn the car off, park, and I'll get you guys out on the selfie stick. Alright, hey guys, so this is me at the meet. This is recorded like a day ago. Today's Sunday. I ran out of time. But yeah, I just kind of like going around in circles, kind of going random cars. I don't really discriminate or anything. Not like Drew Peacock where I hate basically every car. No shade to him. I find his videos hilarious. But sorry if it's a little quiet. This is the first time I'm trying like this voiceover thing, and I don't really have a microphone, so I'm just recording it on my GoPro. A little bit about me. I'm a mechanical engineering major at UAB, University of Alabama at Birmingham. It's my third year there. I'm doing some intern work, producing cast aluminum engines for OEM, for like just ran at different car companies. So yeah, that's I'm hoping to get into like the automotive scene, working for one of the big companies, like one of the big German companies. My minor is in German. Trying to get a little bit more fluent in there before I try saying anything stupid on camera. But yeah, I've been studying it for quite a while now. Sorry, I have a dog and a cat. If you hear them kind of walking around in the background, that's what that's about. But yeah, I've kind of just been studying that. That's what I want to do as a career. That's kind of they go hand in hand. My my love of cars, being a car enthusiast, and engineering, in my opinion. But kind of what got me into cars. I was always working with my dad on like random like changing the oil, doing random repairs when I was younger. But then I ended up, my first car was a 1996 Jeep Cherokee. I was tired one morning. I didn't fall asleep at the wheel, but I was distracted, kind of in a way. So I ended up ending someone and completely smashing the front of it. And this was like in, 2017. So they would have totaled the car, just because it's not worth a whole lot. So you know what, me and my dad said we could deal with this damage. It's not too bad. It's mostly just the front bumper cover, the grill and all that. Sorry, my cat just jumped up right next to the camera. Front cover and all that. And the radiator, the AC condenser, the fan, the pulleys, all that. But my dad, he helped me out, and then I got more and more invested in doing the repairs, and I ended up doing a lot of them on my own. My dad would go inside, go eat dinner. It'd be dark out. It'd be like 7, 8 p.m., and I'd just be sitting there under the car. Thankfully it wasn't on jack, so he wasn't neglecting me, so there was no risk of it falling on me. It was just high enough to where I could reach everything I needed to. But yeah, so that's kind of what got me into cars. And then my love for cars got me into engineering. I always said I'd do computer science. I had a love for computers since I was a kid. But the more and more I realized that I loved more the hardware side, building them, than necessarily the computer science programming part, which I'm still into. That kind of goes with some aspects of engineering, but mechanical not as much. Except MATLAB, for those of you who know, MATLAB sucks. Sorry, my dog and cat are playing right now. But I hope you guys just, I'm not watching the video right now, I'm just off doing the coding on my own, so I don't know where in the video this is at. But I hope you're enjoying it. I kind of, like I said, just go up to random cars. I love looking at engine bays. Just seeing how other people do the work, comparing it to my own, even though the engine and everything is different. But one thing I did remember seeing is all the Supras, and caffeine and octane. I think there was a Supra takeover or something like that. Maybe not, I can't remember. but I know there was a lot of supers at one of the car meets I saw. I wasn't there. Another thing, I don't know, the S13, whatever, the 240 I saw with like the gash in the door. I've seen that 2 times in a row now at Cars and Coffee. Not too familiar with body codes and all that. I know like the general stuff, some BMW stuff because I had an E46, but like if you ask me the difference between an R32 and an R34, whatever GTR, that's just the best example I could think of. I don't know the difference. I just know that those are names and everything. I can't tell a car by the taillights or whatnot. But you know, I'm trying to get there, and that's also part of the point of starting a YouTube channel is just getting out there, learning things, kind of going on my own. But I think in the next video, like I was talking about in the main video, kind of trying to relearn how to drive manual, and I'll kind of go over that with you guys if you want to see that. Kind of just show my thought process and everything, and it may not be the best, it may not be correct, but I think that's the idea for the next video. But I'll see you guys next time. Take it easy, and I hope you enjoyed.